Hey guys, Uncommon Ramen here. Today I picked up a game called Transformers: The Deck Building Game, and I honestly, I don't know. I saw this in the store, and I fell in love with it just by the art. I grew up with the Transformers comics and the GI Joe comics, as well as the animated series of those times. So this to me is just a throwback to what Megatron should have looked like in the uh was it Michael Bay movies that he butchered hardcore. So I'm just really excited to see this. There is a G.I. Joe deck building game by the same people, Renegade Game Studios. I have not picked that up yet. I will be doing so that I can get a video up for that as well, because this is just nostalgic and super fun. So let's just jump inside this thing and see what we have. I probably still have some of these comics laying around too. When I was a kid, I didn't value them that much, and I'm pretty sure I tossed a few of them, but my dad was smart and held on to a bunch of the comic books that I was just kind of throwing away willy-nilly. So it was very nice to see that he kept some of these. So now we're inside the box, and we have the Renegade game catalog, Gravwell, as well as Power Rangers, Clank, and more Power Rangers. Because Power Rangers also has a deck building game. I didn't grow up with Power Rangers. That was more, I want to say, mid to late 90s, and I kind of felt like it was a little childish, so I didn't grow up with them. Next up, we have our rule book that looks just like a comic, and I love it. Jump inside of here. We got ourselves a content list. Get ready to roll out. Some stuff we should expect to see. Energon Cubes. Got ourselves an objective. A little bit about the basics. A rundown of what the cards, the dichotomy of the cards. Got our game set up. Depending on the number of players, the matrix is a little bit different. So this is what our matrices will look like. This was made in part with Matt Hyra, and if I was remembering correctly, Matt Hyra was the one who was behind the DC deck building game, because if I remember correctly, it was Eric Lang who was behind the legendary Tragedy that was a Marvel deck building game. And I'm a big Marvel fanboy, honestly. I love Marvel, but the legendary deck building game was, at least in its early stages, very tedious, to say the least. They were talking about how when everyone was complaining about art on the cards and how if you have a different card, it should have different art, even if it is the same character. And their response to that is, oh, we're all card players here and we've played many TCGs and we don't see the problem with that. But to answer the community, we will definitely work on that. And the reason I have problems with that is because, for starters, if you really are TCG players and you really have played many TCG games, you know that you memorize the cards based off the art, not the text. And so having cards that have different text but the same art makes it very difficult to do that. But more importantly, they had an entire Marvel bullpen to pull art from, so they were just being lazy and they just didn't want to admit it, is what the truth of it was. It was cutting costs. They saved a little bit of money by not having to pay for as much artwork, and then it bit them in the aft end in the end. This is a big rule book. We're on page 12 so far. And we're mostly text. There's not a whole lot in the way of, you know, fun artistic imagery and examples like that. So, hope you like reading a book, because, you know, we got our examples here and there. But a lot of this is probably, the basics of the game is probably easy to learn. I'm sure this is just a bunch of, you know, in-depth explanations about things that probably didn't need in-depth explanation, and, you know, probably some situations that can happen throughout the course of the game that might need more clarification. There's also cooperative and solo rules here, so that's pretty cool. We talk about game end, and we're on page 17 for game end, so just keep that in mind. You have to destroy all 3 bases. All right. This is talking about some of the solo and co-op play. I think it's neat that it offers co-op. Not everyone likes the competitive nature of things, and so if you have friends over that would be more akin to the co-op idea, it's not a bad way to go. Next up, we're going to have a bunch of tokens here. These bottom tokens that I'm showing right now, these are the different characters. There is one other character that you can get in a kind of mini expansion to this game, or it might have been just a promo. I do not have my hands on that yet. I am trying to find it. They do sell it on the Renegade Games website, so I'm hoping that it comes back into stock at some point in time. This is one of my favorite characters, the ambulance character. Got ourselves Optimus Prime, Bumblebee right here. Very cool. In the comics, the ambulance at one point in time got a hold of the heck was the name of that? The ultimate piece of technology that made Optimus Prime like super powerful, and even Megatron at some point in time, I believe, got a hold of it. But the ambulance guy was able to use it at one point in time as well, and I thought that was pretty cool. As well as in the cartoons, there was a black car Transformer Autobot that also got to use it for some period of time as well. This is very interesting. That's the tokens. I assume that the round coin looking things are coins. We got some oversized cards here. These represent our heroes, I think. And then we have our transformed side, so we're just going to take a look at these guys. We have our iconic Optimus Prime, and on the back here we have Optimus Prime in his semi version. We have Bumblebee, and the new Bumblebee, because the old Bumblebee was a yellow VW Bug, but, you know, we'll make room for the future, I guess. We have Ironhide, and Ironhide, which also is an upgraded version of Ironhide, because that's not what he was in the comics. We have Wheeljack, and Wheeljack. We have RC, and RC. We have Ratchet, the ambulance guy. Very cool. So those are your heroes. Like I said, there's one more. I believe it's Soundwave. Can't remember exactly who it was. It turns into a tape deck. Very interesting character. Next up, we have the Standees. So these Standees are just to hold the character pieces, or the character standees up, obviously. So there's your standees. There's several of these. Nothing special about that. Then we have our Energon Cubes. We have big ones and little ones. Let's take a look at these guys. Big Energon Cubes, little Energon Cubes. Just your standard plastic cubes. Clear pink ones, very cool. They didn't have to do that. They could have gone with wood. They could have just done cardboard counters, but they went above and beyond there. Next up, we're going to take a look at some cards. These, if I can open it, I'm not really sure. God dang it. Here we go. These ones are, let's see, we have, this one is the deck, so this must be a mix of other things, including probably cards from the deck. We'll take a look at the backs of these, and we'll decide from there. So we've got player aids here, encounters, and then part of the deck. So I'm going to set those aside. So we're going to look at the player aids really quick here. We got a turn sequence right here, followed by confrontation text. And there are, what, let's see, 5 of these. And then we have encounters. Got Megatron and Optimus Prime. So we've got ambush, dominance. Okay, so they look like they're all ambush. So this is casualties of war. Outmaneuvered. EMP. Crushing blow. Undermined. Power fluctuation. Underestimated. Out of gas. And uphill battle. So those are our encounters and the player aids. Then we have these guys right here, which form the deck. I'm making an assumption here. There's quite a few of them. It would make sense that these would be what form the deck. I'm sure that some part of the... Oh, okay. You can see right here. The starter cards will say starter on them, so I'm sure that part of this is not just the deck. I'm sure that there's some starter cards in here. I'm going to actually open that up and just make sure that that is the case. Except... How do I open? The little tab to pull seemed to be missing on this one. So we're going to have to do this the hard way, which actually took a lot less time than me trying to fumble with the pull tab thing. They're the same on the back, so they just, which is obvious because they're starter. Okay, so they just say starter. Okay. These are all the starter ones. There's some basics here. I assume these basics are available to everyone throughout the course of the game. So these are all basics. We're just going to put those over here, and then we're going to take all of these. So this is the deck that you're going to be getting your supply from. Got ourselves Dropship, Force Dome, Jump, Recon. It was always interesting to me that the Autobots very rarely took the form of jets. Quick Change. Although I believe there are helicopter Autobots. Helping Hand. Heroic Effort. Charge. Dodge. More than meets the eyes. Rumble. Decepticon. Laserbeak. Ravage. Kickback. Scavenger. Skywarp. Scrapper. Shrapnel. Brawl. Bone Crusher. Thundercracker. Bombshell. Energon Mine. Energon Mine. Small versus large. Autobot Base. Military Base. The Arctic. A desert. A city. The Matrix of Leadership. This is the thing I was talking about. I swear it was called something different. But this piece, there's a handle on each side. You can pull it apart, and it unleashes a great deal of power, and whoever's holding it will absorb that power. Optimus Prime does that, I think, on multiple occasions, actually. But at one point in time, so does... the heck was the name of the ambulance again? Ratchet does it, and there was another Autobot that did that at one point in time. I'm sure that throughout the course of the comics it happens multiple times with any numerous Autobots and Decepticons, but the two that really I remember are the ones with Optimus Prime and Ratchet. Polarity Gauntlet. Phase Shifter. Resonance Blaster. Tox N. Jetfire. He's an Autobot. Spike Witwicky. Verity Carlo. Sparkplug Witwicky. Military Airstrikes. Kyle Pennington. Military Transport. Hostage Crisis. Space Bridge to Cybertron. Decepticon Scheme. Magnetized Core. All Out Assault. Divided Loyalties. Soundwave, Decepticon Boss. This guy, I think it was this one who he had a way to switch the symbol on his chest so that he could look like an Autobot, and he was a mole for the Decepticons. Astro Train. Starscream 2. Or maybe he's level 2. Starscream. Starscream would give anything for Megatron not to exist. And they've had many, many turf battles, even though at the end of it all, Starscream ends up obeying Megatron, which never made much sense to me. Blitzwing. Megatron. Devastator. got Mass Extermination, Energon Embargo, Orbital Laser, Stolen Power. So there's the I already forgot what it was called. The piece that I was talking about earlier. Rising Darkness, RC, Brawn, Mirage, Bumblebee, Cliff Jumper, Hound, Prowl, Jazz, Wheeljack, Optimus Prime, Ratchet, Ironhide, got Ground Bridge, couple of those, Repair Bay, Galactic Positioning System, GPS, Energon Drill, Teletran 1, Energy Swords. So that is it for what would be the main deck. Some of this I don't even think goes in because we have the cooperative schemes here. I believe that's only used in cooperative games. We also have the bosses here, which are separated and put into piles. And then, of course, we also have the Decepticon schemes, which also, I believe, are separated because they are part of a different stack. So really what we have here is about that many cards for the main deck. Next up, we have the basic cards. These cards are going to be the ones that are available at the beginning of the game to anybody. You can see right here, it looks like it costs 0, so they don't even cost that much to put into your deck. And there are quite a few of them. It is damage. Oh, and you don't even want to control these because you lose victory points from them. Yikes. So this actually might not even be something that you would buy. It's something that would get put in your deck forcibly. And then we have Transform and Roll Out, which I assume you would want to buy just because you can transform. But yeah, so this one costs 2, has actual things that it does, versus this one, which, like I said, I assume it's forcibly put into your deck. It's got Transform and Roll Out, and like I said, they're all the same. And then last but not least, we got all of our starter cards. So we got ourselves some Courage. There are 30 of those. We have some Firepower. One of each of those. We got some Patrol. Fix. One, two, three, four, 5. Reserves. And it appears to be it. All right, so that is the Transformers deck building game. Like I said, it's just something that's very nostalgic for me. I grew up with this and the comics and the animated series for this as a kid. There is, like I said, a G.I. Joe version. I will be getting that one as well, and I will definitely put a video up for that one too. just because, again, it's very nostalgic for me. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. If you leave any negative comments, I will be deleting them. So just keep it classy, guys. There's really no point in being negative here. If you feel the need to support me, hit me up on my Patreon at patreon.com/uncommonramen, capital U, capital R. I do all of this in my free time, so any kind of support I can get will help me to bring more of this content to you. So that's it, folks. Until next time, peace.